Welcome back to another simple but not basic video. And this is a follow-up video to a video we did not that long ago that you guys seem to have really enjoyed, talking about what I'm calling the best value alternatives to some expensive fragrances. But this time we're doing it a little bit different in that the fragrances that we are replacing are discontinued fragrances. Some might call them discontinued gems. That is of course going to be subjective or in the eye of the beholder, but what is not subjective is the fact that yes, these fragrances are discontinued. Some of my alternatives have overlap that is probably inadvertent, it was not intended, while others may have some relatively intentional overlap, but more so in the sense of trying to refine rather than trying to copy. We're not talking about clones today. All the fragrances I will share with you will be linked in the description. If you want to check them out, I will try my best to link even the discontinued ones, but no promises. Let's dive right into it. The first discontinued fragrance we're talking about that I do believe is still out there, but is definitely a little bit more expensive than the alternative I'll share with you, is from Armani, and it's called Armani Eau pour Homme. I smelled this many years ago. I don't have it on me. I don't even have a sample or anything, but I do remember finding it to be this very classic, gentlemanly kind of citrus aromatic scent, very lemon forward, maybe bergamot, herbs, woods, some spices, very fresh, classy stuff, but maybe not that easy to find. There are some designer counterparts that you can check out that do happen to have some similarity. Stuff like Dior Eau Sauvage Eau de Toilette, as well as the Parfum, and also as well as Acqua de Parma Colonia, the original Colonia from like 100 years ago, but it's a timeless classic. But my alternative, which is less expensive than all those fragrances I just shared with you, is from Niche for All. They call it Lavender Citrus. And as I've explained before, Niche for All is a Swedish brand, and their whole goal is to bring niche fragrances down to the general public, to people who don't want to spend a ton of money. Your first thought about Niche for All might be similar to what my first thought was, even when I got my nose on them, was that this is a clone brand. They're just copying fragrances. But if you open up the hood, you'll see there's so much more beneath the surface. Once again, they are not seeking to copy fragrances. They are seeking to refine. And what I love about them is that if you go to their website, each one of their fragrances has a great description about what is inspiring their fragrance. And they will say, this fragrance will remind you of this fragrance, but this is what we tried to change. We tried to boost this aspect. We tried to get rid of this aspect. Again, refinement. And they're not just out here copying all the biggest, hottest, most hype fragrances out there. They got a few, like Encens and maybe a few others. Yes, they have their own little spins on them, but they also have some other stuff. Lavender Citrus is technically an intended refinement of Colonia from Acqua de Parma, which I did just mention, which is again also similar to the Dior fragrances I showed you, and of course to that discontinued Armani. And this is exactly what it sounds like. It is juicy, bright, mouth-watering citrus with a lot of clean, soapy, aromatic lavender. It's spicy, it's woody, it's herbal, and it's just a thicker, denser, and richer version of this type of profile. It definitely lasts longer, it projects more, but it's still classy. It's not bombastic. I wouldn't call it beast mode, but I would call it above average as far as performance goes, and that seems to be one of the sticking points for a lot of people when it comes to these types of scent profiles. Some of them just tend to be more light, and I think that actually plays into their sophistication, their classiness, but some guys don't want that. They want a strong fragrance for the money they spend. You do happen to not spend a ton of money on this, but you do also get a good amount of performance, which I know many of you guys value, hence why I think this is a great value option. The quality is good. The way it comes together representing this type of scent personality is fantastic. And again, the performance is on point. So I do recommend checking out Niche for All. You can check them out down below at the link. Do your own research, look into their processes, look into how they can find a way to make these fragrances high quality but inexpensive. They explain it all there, so do your due diligence. That is Niche for All Lavender Citrus. This fragrance has created quite a stir over the past couple years since it was discontinued. I happened to buy this fragrance myself about a year ago. I paid a pretty penny for it, and not long after that, a good friend of this channel, Jared Miller, gifted me with this bottle. So I had a huge bottle that I bought, and I had this small one from Jared, so I ended up giving away the big one in a live stream sometime last year. But we're talking about Babycat from YSL. Again, a lot of hype around this one. I like Babycat. I like it a lot. This is an incensey vanilla. It's smoky. It reminds me of like wool in a way. In terms of its texture, there's a dryness to this smooth vanilla. It's warm. It's not really all that creamy, which I love. I don't always love a creamy vanilla. This is a dry vanilla. Dominique Ropion crafted this one, did phenomenal work. However, again, not easy to find, not worth the prices you might pay online. I paid it, but you know, that's just me. But instead, I might recommend this fragrance, which, to be honest with you, is not my favorite fragrance from the house of Tom Ford. Not my favorite release of 2024. I did recently do a video highlighting 30 of my favorite releases from 2024 among the thousands that were released that year. And yes, if you didn't know, thousands and thousands of fragrances are released every year. It's kind of mind-blowing that we try to make a hobby out of this crazy oversaturated market, but here we are. Anyway, Tom Ford Eau d'Ombre Leather. This was a head scratcher for me when I first tried it because it kind of smells like ombre leather a little bit, but the way it dried down was just, it left some to be desired. I was hoping for more, but it is kind of this creamy, leathery, smooth vanilla that is a little fresh. I think I was expecting it to be more fresh, like some kind of more radically different take on this DNA because of the name. When I think of O, I think of something lighter and more transparent. This isn't really that, but all that being said, it's a good fragrance. It smells really good, and as I know a lot of people care about, the performance is pretty out of this world. It is very, very good. It's a strong fragrance and you don't need much of it. And for some reason, it happens to smell a little bit like Babycat. There's a lot of people that have said that, and I can attest, since I have both, yes, they do smell similar. So if you are looking for an alternative to Babycat that is not going to be cheap, but definitely less expensive than Babycat prices, then I would check this one out. I can say it objectively, it will probably meet your needs. If you are looking for a Babycat like DNA and you want something that smells of good quality and actually performs well. That is Tom Ford Eau d'Ombre Leather. Let me know if you dig it already. I wouldn't say this is a highly sought after discontinued fragrance, but those who've tried it know this is beautiful stuff. From Issey Miyake, this is L'Eau d'Issey Pour Homme or Encens, gold incense. This is a beautiful fragrance that kind of transcends mainstream perfumery, transcends what you normally expect out of a designer bottle. It is an incense-based fragrance, but with rose and some like resins, maybe labdanum or myrrh or something in there. I can't remember. There's this kind of brown, sticky, sweet, warm, resinous feel that defines the scent, but it is shrouded in this fresh, smoky incense and this sweet, slightly jammy rose. It's so elegant. Man, this is elegant, gentlemanly stuff, night out stuff, more dressed up, kind of mysterious smelling, but also very alluring and a little bit unique. However, not that easy to find. So instead of this, I would recommend checking out Gucci Intense Oud. Now, in some regions of the world, I do believe this is discontinued, especially in North America. I don't think this is readily available, but I do hear that it is still out there in Europe. And it is a little bit similar to Encens. I'm not going to say it necessarily smells like it, but it does have some overlap. It has a similar vibe, more than a similar scent, and it serves the same functions, and it's a beautiful fragrance. Now, once again, not cheap. It's still probably going to be cheaper than a used bottle of Encens, or especially a new one that you find somewhere in the corner of the internet, but this is still gonna cost you at least 70, 80, 90, maybe $100 if you wanted to grab a bottle of this. But I think this is one of the best fragrances that Gucci has put out over the past decade or so. It is this kind of incensey, warm, sweet oud fragrance, a little bit of fruitiness. There's something, again, dark, also kind of mysterious about it, very elegant and formal smelling, very alluring while smelling upscale, and just something to wear in darker colors when it's cool out, and also quite strong, quite a strong fragrance. So if you are gonna go for that $100+ price that you might pay for this, I think you're gonna feel like you got what you paid for because of the way it has presence on you. When you wear it, you'll smell it, everyone else will smell it. Please don't overspray it. You'll be that guy. Nobody wants to be around that guy. We smell you. 2 sprays, trust me, we smell you, especially if you're inside. Don't try so hard, especially with this one. Intense Oud from Gucci, good stuff. The next fragrance I don't have. In fact, I've wanted to own this fragrance for years now, and it has been discontinued. I haven't felt called to pull the trigger on the prices that this goes for, but maybe one day I will, just because I've loved it ever since I first tried it years ago. I'm talking about Tom Ford For Men. This is such a beautiful, gentlemanly fragrance. It really does encapsulate the feeling, the vibe of Tom Ford. The modern masculinity that Tom Ford tries to portray and convey through his menswear and especially his fragrances. They made an extreme version that I don't think I ever got a chance to try, but I do want to get my hands on that original one. Nonetheless, if you are also a fan of that, but you want an alternative, this fragrance is probably, easily the least expensive on this list. You can find this at FragBuy, and it's great stuff. It is just great quality. It's been around a while. The quality is still there, even though the price has gone down. This is from Baldessarini, previously associated with Hugo Boss. They just call it Baldessarini. Now you're going to see on the bottle that it is an eau de cologne, but don't be fooled. I don't find this fragrance to be weak. Eau de cologne in this case really refers to the vibe. It refers to the lightness, the airiness, the transparency. It is the behavior of the scent that eau de cologne refers to more than the performance. This actually sticks on my skin between 6 and 8 hours, no problem. And it does radiate decently for the first couple hours, but it will sit close after that. And that's just an eau de cologne. That's just the vibe. It's not meant to be something that just gets all the attention, and that's okay. But this is kind of a fresh, citrusy, musky tobacco. And it does have a little bit of overlap with the Tom Ford. The Tom Ford is maybe a little bit spicier, maybe more ginger heavy, if I remember correctly. There is no ginger in here, but it does have a spicy element. It's maybe a more softer, more rounded edge version of that Tom Ford, but again, not the same, but similar. But a worthy fragrance in terms of what you get for what you pay for, and you do pay very little, especially at the link that I'll provide down below, and it's quality stuff. This could be an everyday scent, but it's a little bit more on the elevated side, a little bit more classy, not your just fresh out the shower, Blittish Chanel, Versace Dylan Blue kind of vibe. No, this is a little bit more mature than that. Good stuff. Let me know if you dig this one. And our final discontinued gem, it is a flanker of its original, which is also discontinued from the house of Tom Ford, Mandarino di Amalfi Acqua, which is a flanker of Mandarino di Amalfi. Both beautiful fragrances. I only have the Acqua flanker, which I've loved since first spray. I happened to find this on eBay years ago after I first tried it, even further back than that, and realized I need this stuff. I got lucky. This is a great summertime fragrance, a classy summer scent. Again, Tom Ford vibes. So while it is light, it's transparent, it doesn't last super long at all. It's not going to be something that gets a ton of attention. It's something you wear for you. It just has this refreshing vibe. It has a cleanliness to it. It is, per the name, based on mandarin orange, juicy citrus that's kind of mouthwatering, a little bit fruity and sweet, maybe some other citruses in there. There's a beautiful kind of white floral heart to it that adds this cleanliness, give it this posh rounded feel. And there's a bunch of other elements in there, maybe some mint, maybe some woods. There's a lot going on, more than you would think, but it does come together to be this overall high quality, citrusy, aromatic, floral, under the sun, posh vibe of a fragrance. I love this stuff, but hard to get, hard to find, not really worth the prices, I would say, especially those of you guys who are performance junkies. You might buy a bottle of this for hundreds of dollars and be sorely disappointed because no, it's not going to last and it wasn't intended to. My alternative is also not intended to be a super strong fragrance, but it does have a similar vibe if you are looking for this vibe from the Tom Ford, from Acqua di Parma. This is one of their newest releases, Mandarino di Sicilia. Almost went under the radar for me. I happened to pick this up late last year and I cannot wait to wear this in the heat. This is going to be a beautiful hot weather fragrance in the same vein as the Tom Ford, based on mandarin orange, but even more orange forward. This is so juicy, so citrusy, a little bit tart, mouth-watering, even more realistic, I would say, and especially more prevalent than the Tom Ford. So if you are a mandarin orange fan, you're going to get a huge dose of it when you first spray this on, and also a good little bit of mint in there, adding this coolingness, this freshness, and it dries a little woody and herbal and spicy and maybe floral as well. Performs very similarly to the Tom Ford. So again, from top to bottom, you're going to get a similar vibe. It's just a lot of fun to wear, and I've only worn it in the cold, so I cannot wait to wear it in the heat. Let me know if you've already tried this one. If you haven't, there's going to be a link down below. That is Mandarino di Sicilia from Acqua di Parma. All right, let me know what you think of my alternatives. Again, I'm going to link everything I can find down in the description, and I want to thank you so much for tuning in. Peace. I'll see you in the next one.